Well, that leads me to another question, which is about being in this industry and livelihood and perhaps worrying about income loss during the pandemic. Like, do those elements come together in a way where you sometimes feel pressured or encouraged or swayed, where you're thinking about doing something you wouldn't otherwise be comfortable doing? Um,
I think that's a
what are your
really
thoughts?
valid
Really good
question.
question.
I think we've established some really solid boundaries with ourselves.
Great. Okay.
I hate to say, like, pat your own back, but like I think we really have done that,
Good.
and I think that's really
Okay.
what it takes is really good. Well, okay, let's. That's actually interesting. A Jack and Jill. So that somebody just wrote that in chat. So
Thought you'd do it again. Let's see.
At one point we were trying to figure out if travel was safe to go and
Yeah.
shoot content. Now, the shooting of the content is something we would have normally already done. So we weren't like reaching outside of our comfort zone in that sense to do something with somebody new or do a new sexual act or something like that. But the travel part during a pandemic would have made it uncomfortable. And we didn't know how to quite
Right.
manage that. So I think we were really kind of figuring out where we stood in terms of comfort, in terms of travel to go do things with
Yeah,
other
like
people.
where was our line?
So
Like,
because it would have been monetarily beneficial for us and would have helped us grow or at least continue
Yeah.
our brand in a more or continue our work and content in a financially beneficial way. I mean,
And a linear way, right? Where it
Yeah.
progresses, it builds
yeah.
on itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will definitely say though, like I've gotten on cam when it's more like, no, this is a financial need. I'm not really horny. I'm not like the horniest ever in my life every
Yeah.
single time I log on. But I also, people probably can tell on those shows where I'm not the horniest of my life because it's like some shows are really awesome and some shows are not so great, and like the money varies dramatically from show to show. So I think everybody else is pretty aware of where we're at that day.
Yeah.
With the ebbs and flows of the libido and things like that. And yeah, it's just sorry, I'm also trying to read chat at the same time. But yeah, I think
No
so. I
problem.
think we have pushed ourselves maybe to do an act that we are normally very comfortable with when we were maybe tired, let's say, or we were just, like,
Oh, I see.
does that make sense? It's kind of like, man,
Yeah.
but let's do this ticket show or something. But I don't think we have ever
Yeah.
done anything like any act that makes us uncomfortable, knowing ahead of time, like, oh, I don't want to do that, but I really need the money. Like, we've been very fortunate to either be able to tone back our budget or
Yeah.
find a way to get paid for what we do feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm glad to hear you talk about that because it sounds like it humanizes you, first of all, as adult filmmakers and these, fabulous porn stars, that you also get tired. And there's days when you have to push yourself to do your work.
Yeah.
And when you push your body, it's like, a construction worker pushing their body. Like you're doing work with your body.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily want to be in that moment.
Right.
But you're also saying that for the sake of money, you are not willing to forsake any of your own boundaries or values or things that, like, you're very much wanting to stay within what is comfortable for you, and not willing to do wild things for other people because they might pay more.
And we've tried. Like we did. I remember this one time someone was like, how much to slap her in the face? And I was like, I don't know, never been slapped in the face. Let's do this. I threw out at a price and the person slapped me in the face and he slapped me hard, I was like, all right, give it to me, and I've never been hit. So I was like, oh, and then you like learn like, wow, people who have to go through this and like my head and the stars and I was just like, oh, what did I do? Like this is awful. And of
too.
course, yeah, I know.
you
We were both
slap
just like,
him
that
back?
felt so wrong, and so I think that was when we learned. It was very early on, and we weren't even on
Melissa, did
Chatterbait
you
yet.
slap him back?
No,
You get to suck
because
your
I was
feedback.
like, no, because I wasn't, I had asked for it and
Just an
everything.
impulse.
No, I was
Whatever,
just
that
like,
would be my instinct.
Yeah.
yeah. No, when you've asked for it and you begged for the past 5 minutes, and he was like, no, it's gonna hurt. And I'm like, no, it's not, I'm fine, I'm good. So.
I mean, my instinct would be, we're role playing, and you hit me, and I'm gonna suck you, motherfucker.
Right.
Well, I guess
And I'm
maybe
like,
my
oops, I got caught up
instinct,
in the moment, sorry.
maybe my instinct is like the battered woman who just sits there and keeps getting beat or something, because I was just like,
Oh.
like,
Okay,
I
so
felt
you tried
very
something-
little, very put in my place, and I was just like, oh man, I now see, what could happen if I maybe had done a sexual act I wasn't comfortable with, so.
Right, and we've used
I
that
see.
as a reference point for other things we don't want to do. We're like, remember that time we pushed it and we did that thing? And it's just like,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I think, I don't know. I think you. I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like, I did stuff for money all the time before I did this job that I hated. So, like, I hated university stuff. I did a lot of politics work where I felt like I was sexually harassed all the freaking time, and it's like, you don't even, there's no context for that because you're not supposed to be doing that in that industry. And so, this, for me to try something in this industry for money that I don't like, it was a small risk to take to realize, cool, I don't want to do that. I don't have to. I have other ways to make money. And now I really don't have to do hardly anything that, like, I mean, compared to how I used to compromise my values all the time as a teacher, like, you got all the red tape and you always have to do stuff you don't want to do with your body as a teacher. So I feel a lot.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I feel a lot less exploited and much freer now than I ever did. So.